Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian from WhisperStatus74. We're going to take a little break from looking at OLEDs and talk a little bit about HDMI 2.1 and 8K, as it keeps coming up in the comments in regards to you guys making purchases or regretting purchases that you just made. It's a weird time right now, and what's happening is in the comments I'm seeing that you guys are looking at X display, but you're not going to pull the trigger because you're waiting for HDMI 2.1 or 8K, which is fair. And I've done these videos before talking about 8K, why I think it's not necessary, and also HDMI 2.1, while it is a good thing to have in terms of future proofing, how far away we are from actually utilizing it. Now I have two videos today that I'm going to put in the comments, or a link in the description I should say, that you guys can look at from two PC guys, Bitwit and Linus Tech Tips. Now both are huge YouTubers, a lot of followers. What I'm really looking to do is have you guys watch those videos. We'll talk about what they say, and then you can see them and watch their videos and tell me what you think in the comments. Now, the reason why, and for those of you that are new to this channel that have joined recently simply because of the OLED, this is a community that we have here. I am here as a friend. We're doing discussion-based commentary. This is not a professional channel. This is just a regular person. I'm not a professional PC person, TV person, anything. I'm just like you guys. That said, in the comments, it is discussion-based, meaning this channel is a community, and many channels say they're community. Ours is a living, breathing community. I will respond to the comments. I do tend to get to every single one of them. I'm behind right now, but be, if you can, as positive and kind to each other as you can. It's not necessary to trash somebody else's display. I will never do it. I don't want anyone in the community doing it. It's a small community. It grows slowly for a reason. It's because I won't take part in that toxicity. When you're getting into something like OLED and LED, it creates all kinds of problems. There's a lot of hate there. I'm not interested in it, not even a little bit. So I'm just letting you guys know, if you're new to the channel, if you're looking for that kind of content, you're looking for that toxic fighting, it's just not going to happen on this community. It'll never happen from me, and I really am not going to allow it to happen in the comments. So please be kind to each other. Keep the discussion. As much as you disagree with me all you want, disagree all you want, but just, it's not necessary to defend your display and trash someone else's. I'm just not interested in that. That's just kind of, if you're new to the channel, that's the way the community is. It's not me, it's us, and that meaning the people in the comments are part of this community. Okay, that said, again, thank you for being part of the channel. Talking about HDMI 2.1, a lot of you guys have taken the specs from the new Xbox and the new PS4 to heart, to the degree of it's paralyzing you from purchasing a display now. And I'm going to bring up two displays. I'm going to bring up the Sony A9G from Sony, which may very well be the best display this year in terms of its overall picture quality. It won that shootout. It is very, very good in terms of what it offers. And we'll talk about the LG C9. Now, a lot of you guys are immediately giving the edge to the C9 simply because of HDMI 2.1. In this video there's no way, or there shouldn't be in any way where you don't buy the A9G because of HDMI 2.1 is kind of where I'm getting at with this video. For instance, let's just say Bitswit video here is talking about HDMI 2.1. And we're going to talk about his video as well as Linus's. And Linus's tech tip videos, he has a Samsung 800, what am I talking about? 900R 8K display. And they're trying to run 8K. And the amount of hardware that he is using to run 8K 30 was about $15,000 to make it really run and scale the way it needed to scale. And to see the hoops that he has to jump through to make that work is very interesting, considering he is a PC guy. Both these guys are PC channels. They know their stuff in terms of scaling and PC compatibility and monitors and how to get them to work. I don't take what they say in regards to TV reviews and things of that nature. That's not their lane. I am not in their lane. But what they say is interesting, because they both had a hard time making the features that so many of you are coveting work and function. In my mind, the LG C9, perfect example. If I get one, and I bring it downstairs to my room. I have an Xbox One X, which can be used to some degree with HDMI 2.1. Even though it doesn't really play nice, the Samsung Q90R plays better with variable refresh rate. But screen tearing, things like that, you know, a lot of these games have built-in V-Syncs anyway. PC games have V-Sync. I'm looking for FreeSync, G-Sync, things that work right away with GPUs. Now, the Xbox One X does play nice with FreeSync. The C9 doesn't really have that. So if I was in theory to bring the C9 downstairs and use my PC to run 4K at 120, that would be the first thing I would run. Now, I have a GTX 1080 Ti. It is a very good graphics card. It's getting a little bit old. It can run a couple really old games at 4K 120. I'm sure it can run Doom 3 or Half-Life non-ray tracing at 4K 120. I would hook it up, get ready to rock, and nothing would happen. It would be capped at 60 FPS. Why? Because the graphics card's HDMI is 2.0. So is the graphics card on the GT or the RTX and any of the new GPUs. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is a lot, and that's what he's going to go through in his video, is using the C9 as a PC monitor, he wasn't able to play 4K at 120. Meaning he wasn't able to really take advantage of the HDMI 2.1 that so many of you are looking and you think is going to be used for your next Xbox. What I'm trying to say is if Linus Tech Tips has a hard time running 8K at 30, what makes you think that the new Xbox for $400 is going to run 8K at 30 or is going to run 4K at 120? For me, my honest opinion is the next level of gaming is 4K 60. Maybe 4K 30 with ray tracing on consoles. That's what I think. If they do end up getting past that, you're looking at maybe 3 years in. Maybe. The RTX 2080 Ti can't do every game 4K 60 right now. That card launched at $2,000. With ray tracing, it's 4K at 30, unless you have two cards together. So you'll see Linus's video where he's having the SLI cards that cost $2,000 each to run with the CPU and the GPUs and the memory to try and get this to work. So this thought that we're going to buy an Xbox next year that's going to run 8K no problem and that you need the display to manage that is just a little bit of a misnomer, and it's just a lot of marketing, guys. I'm not a scientist, I'm just giving you my opinion, but many of you think that the minute I buy, you know, a new 4K TV with HDMI 2.1, I'm going to plug in my PC and I'm going to run it, and you're going to say, wow, that runs really, really smooth. You're going to look at the banner and realize you're running 4K at 60, which your display that you have right now can do. So what I'm trying to say is if you buy, you guys are missing a lot of really good displays that are available today and are available last year even, that you're not willing to buy because of HDMI 2.1. And it's a little bit of a shame. The Sony A9G is incredible. Sony's OLEDs from last year are incredible. Panasonic, which I wish we had them, they are incredible. A couple of the LG LEDs have HDMI 2.1. What's their functionality? Can they really manage what it says it's going to manage? So in a way, you're an early adopter to HDMI 2.1, but is it going to do anything? Now, I'm not saying NVIDIA can't do 4K at 120. It absolutely can. It can do all that through DisplayPort, which the C9 does not have. So buying the C9 over the C8 because of HDMI 2.1, it's a big difference in price for a technology you can't use. Now, 8K streaming. Do we really think the bandwidth of, a lot of you guys are struggling with 4K at 4K and HDR with your bandwidth with Netflix and all that streaming. I highly doubt 8K streaming is coming. A lot of things are still 1080p on Netflix. So is it coming at some point? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's inevitable. Technology is going to run us all over without question. But I think many of you are missing some amazing displays now that can all do 4K 60. Now, if you're somebody that wants 4K at 144 hertz or 120 hertz, If you're that type of gamer, typically you have a rig that can run it and you have a monitor that can run it. What I'm trying to say is a PC gamer willing to spend $7,000 on a 77-inch OLED to play from his couch? Which is interesting hearing these guys, because they can buy a pretty awesome monitor for a few $100 or even maybe $1,000 that can do everything they need it to do. It's our home theater group hybrid that is trying to do both. That we're gamers, we're movie people, we're everything else. Guys, 4K movies are 24 FPS. They're not going to run at 60. Even if they, hypothetical, they run at 60. There are a few movies out there that are 4K 60. The Hobbit in theaters. There is another war movie that I keep forgetting that I'll do a video on that runs at 60. It's not a very natural looking image for film. They're not going to run at 120. Probably ever. Ever. There's just no reason for it. It would just not look great. So my point is, basing your decision on that one little piece is going to hurt you guys. To me, the big difference in display is not going to be just HDMI 2.1. It's going to be 12-bit. 12-bit color, 12-bit. I know they're going to market that as the true HD, or I'm sorry, true HDR, because Dolby Vision would be 12-bit. So true. Yes, that is a concern. Is that coming next year? We haven't heard anything about it coming next year. A lot of you guys are really worried about your displays becoming obsolete. If you had a 1080p display, yes, you could find yourself obsolete. If you had a 4K display without HDR, that's a real fear, because HDR is important. Is your display at 4K without HDR obsolete? Of course it's not. But there's a clear line there from non-HDR to HDR, which is now with it a lot of content, games included. 4K, 8K. I don't find the Samsung display to look better than the Q90 at all. In fact, I find the Q90 to look a little bit better or virtually the same. But Linus's video is going to show you how difficult it is to actually manage it. And yes, Xbox and PS4 or PlayStation, watch any E3. The promises of technology, think back to the Kinect. Think back to even the Xbox One and PS4. 1080p, 60, blah, 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 this kind of gaming. Yeah, guess what? The Xbox One was 900p, 720p. The PlayStation 4, 1080p, blurry, 30 FPS. It was only until the PlayStation Pro, the Xbox One X, that they were able to really manage some really sick frame rates. Really, 1080p, 60, which now they're doing now because they can't do 4K in a lot of their games. But you see what I'm saying, guys? We have this huge span of time where it took them to get to where they wanted to be. To get to the initial promise, which was 1080 60, which they never really reached. Now, PC guys, you guys haven't had 1080 60 for 20 years, it feels like. Might even be 20 years, but you guys have had that for a long time. But a lot of you guys aren't buying big TVs. You're playing from your desk. If you have the hardware to push 4K at 120 right now, you probably have two RTX 2080 Ti's running an SLI, which they don't even play nice, and you're probably playing on a monitor. That's a lot of hardware to take. So if you had that setup I just mentioned and you plugged it into the C9, you would not get past 60. Now, there are other values. There is, 4x4x4 chroma at 10-bit versus 8-bit. That's not, a lot of people aren't talking about those functions. The audio return channel, but you'll find that maybe Samsung's display doesn't really manage that for Dolby Atmos. So these are little things that you guys have to really focus on and pay attention to. And I'm just here to bring a little clarity to it, because all the comments in the OLED videos, HDMI 2.1 keeps coming up, because someone will say, why aren't we looking at the Sony OLEDs? Right away, someone says, dude, that thing's obsolete. You have to have the HDMI 2.1. Well, when you watch Bitswit's video of him using the C9 and trying to game on it, yeah, it's an awesome experience. And by the way, guys, if these PC guys in these videos find a gaming experience on a TV to be pleasant, that's already amazing. It's already amazing. I'll tell you that Samsung's approach with variable refresh rate, FreeSync, is amazing. It is a great step that they all should be taking, guys. Look, it wasn't that long ago where input lag was something they didn't care about. A lot of the displays that many of us played, our TVs, the input lag is probably 60 milliseconds. It was probably a lot higher than you think. PC community is used to these quick FreeSync. They're used to 144 hertz. They're used to just quick speed. I wish there was 1440p TVs. That would make all this so much easier. But I'm going to link both these videos, and I think some of you guys will find it to be eye-opening as far as what it takes and how this HDMI 2.1, it's amazing to have, but it isn't really needed or necessary. Now, is it going to be necessary in 6 months or a year? It may be more necessary, but that said, you're probably 2 or 3 years away from it actually seeing it utilized. Now, if you just bought an RTX 2080 Ti, for non-PC people, being the top card in NVIDIA's lineup right now, the more expensive cards, right? So that has been out for 6 months. A lot of you guys have them. They are very expensive. They perform awesome. They're still not 4K at 60 on all titles, right? All titles and we're talking about the reason you're into PC gaming is to run things in max settings if you have a flagship card. They're not there yet. That's crazy for the console guys who think that these new Xboxes and PS4s are going to wipe the floor with PC, or they're going to, for $400 or $500, it's just not feasible. It's just not feasible. It's just not something that's going to happen. So just keep in mind, guys, to be realistic with the marketing. Of course, they're going to push 4K or 8K as something for you to buy. Of course, dude, get rid of your 4K display. You get an 8K one. 4K is right now at its prime. The amount of content out there, the amount of Dolby Vision out there, the amount of content I've been watching, it's all over the place. The amount of games right now. The PS4 Pro is still great. The Xbox One X is still great. The community with PC is still, it's all right there. But now to throw HDMI 2.1 out there and realize that it might not be fully utilized for 2 or 3 more years, some of you guys will buy a display now and then buy another one in 3 or 4 years. So you're going to almost waste that time in between, or pay top dollar for an 8K display, which isn't going to utilize the technology. You're going to pay early adoption fees for something that's not going to be used. And the C9 was a big eye-opener for myself, as it's a display I'm strongly looking at, and to see him not be able to get it to run what I would get it to. Like right now, like I said, right now, I would run that PC downstairs and say, you know what, maybe I'll play Doom. You know, Doom 3 or Half-Life 2, one of those really old games. Let me run that 4K 120. And I'd be sitting downstairs rocking it going, oh, that's that, please. No, it's not going to work because it's not DisplayPort. These are little things that our marketing isn't telling us. There's little things. So back to the PC crew, you're gonna wait. So your GTX 1080, your GTX RT, your RTX 2080 Ti that you just bought, you're telling me that you're gonna buy an HDMI 2.1 display, whether it's the Samsung or the LG, and then what? Trash your graphics card? You're gonna get rid of your RTX. You're gonna spend another $1,000 on another graphics card. That graphics card is supposed to last you 2.5 years. Do you see where I'm going, guys? It's not meant to say don't be hopeful or don't look to future-proof yourself. That's always the best thing to do, is future-proof yourself. But when you see Linus's video and you see this guy, Bitwit's video, you're gonna see the real limitations of what they're promising. Not them, but what the marketing is promising. You're going to see Linus struggle to get 8K to even scale. And smart guy, knows a lot of what he's talking about. Same with Bitwit, knows a lot of what he's talking about. And here he is with a C9 getting ready to rock. He's got his PC better than most of us have, and he can't get it to work. These guys are brilliant, and they can't get it to work. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping. Always great to try to future-proof, guys, but future-proofing is almost a misnomer in technology. I heard the word the other day that I liked obsolescence, you know, obsolete. Things being built with obsolescence in tow, built into it, meaning just about everything that leaves us is obsolete. Every time a technology comes out, it's already obsolete. So future-proofing yourself, not buying a display like the Sony A9G, or even some of the other LEDs and focusing purely on HDMI 2.1, I think you're going to find yourself left out of the cold a little bit. You're going to find yourself buying maybe an inferior display next year. So let's just give you an example. If you're somebody that had your eye on the Samsung Q9FN, which I think was incredible, and then you went and bought a Q90R. Now the Q90R is awesome in its own right. There's nothing wrong with it, but you might have missed out on the Q9FN strengths waiting for 2.1. Same with, there's no guarantee that next year's displays are better than this year's. We looked at what happened with the Z9D and the Z9F. Z9F is still awesome, but it took a step back in a few ways. The Z9D is better in some ways. So there's no guarantee that your OLED this year, your OLED next year is going to improve upon it beyond the HDMI 2.1. The picture quality might be worse. You have your Hisense, you have your other displays, your Vizios, your TCL that don't have HDMI 2.1, and you might be missing out on them. I'm just saying to be careful. Don't let the marketing just grab you. Don't let it make you think you have to have these things and that what you have is obsolete. For those of you who just bought displays right now, please enjoy them. Please unbox them, enjoy them. They're not obsolete. They're great. They're fine. Don't second guess yourself. Listen to yourself. I'm going to link those two links from BitSwit and Linus Tech Tips. Check them out. Let me know what you think in the comments about the functionality of HDMI 2.1 today and maybe next year. What I'm thinking it's going to be 2 or 3 years from now. And should you base your purchase on HDMI 2.1 or 8K, let me know in the comments what you think. I am Brian at WhisperStatus74. Thank you so very much for giving me this platform and for being part of this community and family. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.